Will NIO stock recover, or is it time to sell and leave this sinking ship? And also, what share prices will we see in the future? So NIO has dropped 22% from the all-time highs, and people are losing hope that maybe we have seen the end of NIO. Let's go through just why NIO dropped last week and understand whether we have reached the end for the stock or if we are about to see a massive bouncing recovery that can take NIO to new all-time highs. So stay tuned. Looking at the stock chart, NIO opened last week at $54 a share, and we were expecting this insane growth to continue. Instead, this week ended in a share price of $43 and a decline of 20%. And after reading and watching the reactions of NIO investors, it seems like most people still believe in the company like before. And so do I, by the way. To understand whether you should sell a company after a recent drop, the best thing you can do, in my opinion, is to see why it dropped in the first place. So let's do that before we decide for ourselves if this drop is justified or if it is just out of fear and not really based in reality. Let's first realize that we have had an insanely good year for almost all legitimate electric vehicle companies. Pretty much any EV stock you can mention has gained hundreds and hundreds of percents in this relatively short time period. And the year-to-date gains of NIO before the drop last week was 1240%. But even if you do account for this recent drop, that's still a year-to-date gain of 970%, which is insane for a company of this size. And I know, obviously, most of us NIO investors did not buy the stock in this company when it was at $3 a share, me included. But the market doesn't really care about that. The market is quite irrational in the short term, and after a stock has rallied in a way that NIO has, one small, maybe even nonsensical negative catalyst is all that is needed for a panic sell-off to happen. And I think we saw a couple of those last week. First of all, NIO shares dropped 10% only on Monday on a report that the short seller Hindenburg Research released. These guys are famous for making Nikola drop back in September, and now they published another article on another electric vehicle company. But not NIO as you would have expected, since it dropped 10% after all. No, that report was on another Chinese EV company called Kandi Technologies, ticker symbol KNDI, with allegations that the company has reported revenue figures that didn't reflect their actual independent third-party sales. My guess for why NIO dropped as well here is simply because it is also a Chinese company and because the market got scared that they are also in some way manipulating their numbers. Very unlikely in my opinion, since these guys are actually independently audited by the same auditor that Tesla has. It is the Chinese entity of it though, and the government doesn't yet allow US to look into them, but still. For a company as established as NIO, I can't imagine them trying to do something like this though, and just ruin their reputation forever. And as NIO also starts to expand into the US, I believe they will find a way to be completely transparent without interference from China. So simply put, the drop on Monday had nothing to do with the actual fundamentals of NIO. So the second 10% drop we saw on NIO was on Tuesday, where NIO reported record November deliveries that had more than doubled year over year to 5,300 vehicles delivered, with NIO's new EC6 Sport Crosser seeing a rapid uptick since its launch just a couple months ago. So why did it drop if it wasn't related to NIO at all? Possibly because the market started to get scared of NIO getting delisted. But people, this delisting bill was announced back in May, and this is a very long-term thing. China has 3 years to allow the US to audit their auditors. So again, if anything, the fundamentals of NIO got even stronger on Tuesday, and this drop was also just a speculative one, not at all related to the company. On Wednesday, we saw NIO ending with a plus 6% increase in share price, which is just nice of course, but it's still down big on the week. That day we saw Goldman Sachs analyst upgrading NIO from a sell to a neutral with a price target of $59 a share, with his argument being that in hindsight they underestimated the benefits of NIO from one, powertrain breakthrough, particularly with the cell-to-pack large cell technologies, and two, the introduction of NIO's battery as a service program, which has significantly expanded NIO's addressable market. Thursday and Friday, as NIO kept going down, the only actual news were another analyst, this time giving a negative view on a Chinese EV company. But not NIO, guys, again. Rather, it was about XPeng and how that stock is overvalued. Li Auto also took a hit as they tried to raise more money from investors to invest into their business further. But as you can see, absolutely nothing negative happened to NIO as a company that week. Rather, I think this is the case of the market being scared of electric vehicle stocks in general being overvalued, which leads to profit taking and therefore a decline in share price. But as the fundamentals remain solid or even stronger than before, I see no reason for why anyone would want to sell their position in the company unless it was something they planned earlier. Keep in mind, people, the market is very short-term oriented, with traders constantly trying to speculate and mind game each other in an attempt to make a quick buck. And sometimes growth companies such as NIO or Tesla fall victim to these speculations and just start going haywire in share price. As long as NIO's fundamentals are intact though, I will stay invested into the company and even buy more shares at the cheaper prices we're seeing. And for anyone else who has done their research and agree with the sentiment that this stock will be worth more in the future than it is worth right now, I think they should also look at this as an opportunity. And just to reiterate some recent positive fundamental news for NIO, their vehicle delivery counts just keep rising. Back in June, these guys delivered 3,700 vehicles, and compared to November deliveries of almost 5,300, that is a 40+% increase in delivery pace in just around 6 months. And keep in mind here that it's very important for them right now, since the manufacturing pace is their absolute limiting factor. They always have a full backlog of orders and have such a high potential for increasing their revenue when they start speeding up their production. Additionally, their new EC6 model is getting increasingly more popular, and compared to October, they delivered around 70% more of those models in November. And lastly, NIO is doing very well in the cash department. With $2.8 billion in cash reserves and only $1 billion in debt, they have so many opportunities to invest into their research and development, their marketing, and of course their production. So with that said, do I think NIO is a buy right now, and what share price do I see in the future? Well, if it wasn't clear enough, I do think it is a buy right now, and I think we're seeing a great buying opportunity here, but only if you are a long-term investor that is willing to hold on to this stock for many years to come. Next week we might see a crazy rally to new all-time highs, or we could see NIO going down even further. But as long as NIO as a company hasn't changed, I will keep putting a small sum of my monthly savings into their stock. Why? Because I think NIO should be worth more than it is right now, and a $100 share price in 2021 seems quite reasonable to me. From there, if NIO's fundamentals can stay intact and if they can really expand to Europe and the US, something like $200 or even $300 a share would honestly make sense in my view. Again, they will have to prove themselves further for the coming years if you want to see those crazy levels being reached. But hey, I believe in them and I make sure to stay diversified when investing to spread my risk, so regardless of what happens, I will be fine. I hope you guys also own a bunch of different stocks, since no matter how bullish I am on NIO, I need to acknowledge that there is a risk involved in owning a company like this. Also, please don't take this as investment advice, since I'm not a financial advisor. Make sure to do your own research, make your decision, and stay true to that decision. And with that, I want to conclude today's video. My name is Sam, by the way, and welcome to the channel. If you found value out of this video, it would totally make my day if you like the video. It helps the algorithm, helps the video reach out to more people, and is simply the best way you can support me. Also, if you watched all the way to this point, and if you like the content, of course, very important, why not subscribe? Something like 90% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel right now, so it would be just awesome if you wanted to do so and try to join us in the goal of reaching 10,000 investors by the end of this year. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.